10. Awareness of posture. Let us take posture as our first example. A beginner can practice awareness of posture while sitting. You can start by becoming aware of different parts of the body. For example, you can consider the head and neck, the right arm, the left arm, the torso, the right leg, and the left leg. At the beginning, you can divide these larger areas into smaller parts. For example, within the head and neck, you may become aware of the forehead, eyes, nose, lips, cheeks, ears, chin, and different parts of the head and neck. With the arms, you can become aware of the shoulders, upper arms, lower arms, palms and fingers. The torso can be considered in upper, middle and lower areas. And the legs can be considered through the thighs, knees, calves, ankles, feet and toes. You don't need to think of this as a complicated anatomical exercise. The purpose of dividing the body into smaller parts is simply to make it easier for a beginner to develop awareness. Gradually, you can move from the smaller parts to the larger areas, and eventually, you can develop awareness of the whole body as one entity. Dang 11. Awareness, rather than an idea about the body. There is another important distinction. We normally have an image of our body in our mind. Our brain receives information from different parts of the body and creates an internal representation. This representation is useful for everyday life, but it is not necessarily an exact representation of the actual body. In awareness practice, the intention is to develop awareness of the actual physical components and their positions, rather than simply relying on the mental image of the body. So the purpose is not, what do I think my posture is? It is more about, what can I actually become aware of in the body? This distinction may appear subtle, but with practice, it can become increasingly important. 12. Awareness of body movements. The next practice is awareness of body movements. Here we are interested not simply in the position of the body, but in changes in position. For example, when you bend your body changes position. When you raise your hand, there is a change. When you walk, different parts of your body continuously change position. We can develop awareness of these movements during ordinary daily activities. This is particularly useful because it allows meditation practice to become part of everyday life. You don't always need to set aside a separate period for this type of awareness. Simple and familiar activities can provide opportunities. For example, when dressing, when washing, when eating, when drinking, when swallowing, or when performing other simple routine activities. The source material points out that complex activities are generally less suitable because they require conscious thought and planning. But routine activities can provide an excellent opportunity to practice awareness while continuing with normal life. 13. Why is this relevant to emotional control? Now we can return to our original purpose. Why are we talking about posture and body movements in a discussion about emotional control? Because emotional experiences are not limited to thoughts. They are also associated with changes within the body. When you become angry, anxious, frightened, or excited, you may experience changes in different parts of the body. The problem is that we often notice these changes only when they have become quite strong. Developing awareness can help us become more sensitive to subtle changes. The material identifies three important characteristics in the development of awareness. The area of interest becomes broader, sensitivity increases, and the process becomes sharper so that subtle changes can be detected. This is particularly relevant to emotional management. If you become more sensitive to what is happening inside you, you may have a better opportunity to recognize an emotional reaction while it is still developing. And that creates the possibility of responding rather than simply reacting. Lesson 14. Give yourself time. One final point is particularly important for beginners. Don't expect meditation to produce dramatic results immediately. Meditation is a skill that develops through practice. At first, your mind may wander frequently. You may forget the instructions. You may find it difficult to maintain awareness. That is normal. The important thing is to continue practicing. Gradually, the area of awareness can become broader. Your sensitivity can increase. You can become better at detecting subtle changes. And you can become better at returning the mind to the selected meditation when distractions occur. These developments are more meaningful than simply asking how many minutes you have meditated. Conclusion. So, let us bring together the main points. If you are planning to begin meditation with the intention of improving emotional control, choose a suitable place. Become familiar with the method. Understand why you are practicing. Keep the actual meditation simple. When distractions arise, recognize them and return to the meditation. Don't spend the meditation session measuring your progress. And remember that the actual meditation is the mental activity you are practicing, not all the supporting activities surrounding it. We then looked at awareness meditation, particularly awareness of the body. Awareness of posture can help you develop sensitivity to the position of different parts of the body. Awareness of body movements can extend that practice into everyday activities. And gradually, awareness can become broader, more sensitive, and sharper. This developing awareness can provide an important foundation for emotional management. Because before we can effectively manage an emotional reaction, we first need to become better at recognizing what is happening within us. And that is one of the important abilities that meditation can help us develop. Let me repeat one final point. This is not a guided meditation session. Our earlier guided meditation series was intended to guide beginners through actual meditation practices. This talk has a different purpose. It is intended to provide some basic understanding for someone who is considering meditation, specifically as a way of developing better emotional control. And we have deliberately not covered every meditation technique. Breathing meditation, in particular, will be introduced separately at a later stage. So, for now, the important message is begin with understanding, practice patiently, develop awareness gradually, and use that growing awareness as a foundation for better emotional control. Thank you for listening.